Hey folks, the devil are you today? Good, I hope. What looks like on the workbench here might be a complete pile of junk. It actually represents some of the projects that I've got going on at the moment. And when I say going on, I am actually going to get these projects done this year. So those of you who subscribe to the channel for the MR2 stuff and have stuck with me, thank you very much. Now is the time where you'll start seeing some more MR2 related videos, and I put some of these tools and things that I've bought into some actual use to build and service and make some stuff. So I just thought I'd show you the selection of stuff that I've got going on at the moment for the car. I've got some things coming as well. Hopefully they'll be delivered this week, which is a big larger project. So we'll start with the little stuff first of all. So this item here, if you have a look underneath the car and you're sort of towards the back of the car, and you can see your flywheel, which you obviously shouldn't be able to, that's because you're missing this plastic part here. Now what tends to happen with these, if you need the part number, that's the part number for the flywheel cover. It's a small plastic shroud. We'll open it up, and all this does is it using these guides here, it just slides up into its housing in front of the flywheel where you can see, and that's it. You know, that is the flywheel inspection cover. However, what happens with these is they just over time just drop out, and that's it. You've lost it on the road somewhere, never to be seen again. So with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into its location in the casting, and then I'm going to Araldite, that's a trade name, epoxy resin glue, or what's the other one, JB Weld, that's it. I might JB Weld a small tie point onto the casting of the case in an appropriate position, and then epoxy resin glue another fixing point on this, and then when it's in home, cable tie the two together so this can't physically drop out, and it keeps the inner location of the flywheel protected from dirt and wet and all kinds of horribleness that you encounter in the road. So small project, that one, but it's one where yeah, need to sort something out to stop that keep dropping out. So that's that one. And if you need the part number because you've lost yours, once again, that is the Toyota part number for that. It wasn't very much. I think it was something like £9, something like that. Not very much at all, but obviously you need it. Next thing, I've had this for best part of a year and a half. Flip key. The unit itself is quite a bit bigger than the actual key, but for being in your trousers and things, I think these are just a bit more nicer. And let's face it, who doesn't like a flip key? The only thing with these Chinese ones is they don't come with the correct key blank for the Toyota MR2s. This blank is different. I think if I remember correctly, the blank for our car might be Toyo 41 possibly. If you absolutely need to know what that is, let me know in the comment and I'll dig it out for you. I've got it written down somewhere. But basically you take the remote, there's two screws in the back of here, you take your remote out of your existing key, and that fits in there very neatly. And what I'm going to do is, I've got a broken key, so and actually when I bought the MR2 I had one good key and one broken key. The good key is a valet key, so that is the one that won't unlock all the cubbies and the glove box and things like that. The broken key is the main master key. So I'm going to put I'm going to get the master key cut to a new key, so I've got two, and then the one with the broken blade, I'm going to, once I've had that spare key cut, I'm going to take the blank, fit it into here, not the blank, the cut key, fit it into there, Dremel out the edge, and just see how that goes really. I know it's doable because as I whilst this was languishing around in my drawer, Another UK MR2 owner, Spider Lee, check out his YouTube channel if you haven't already. He's already done it, so I know it's doable. And Lee, if you watch this video, do let us know how your Kia's got on, because I think you've had that done for a few months now, so that's another project on the way. Not project as such, but something I've got to do. The service is coming up on the MR2, so I'm going to change all the filters, the oil. I'm going to change a drive belt, that needs doing. So there's two different drive belts for the MR2, one if you've got air conditioning and one if you haven't, so make sure you buy the right one if you're going to do that. So I'm going to change the drive belts, and I'll take the MAF sensor out and clean that as well. So if you're interested in that, then certainly think about having a subscribe if you haven't already, because that will be coming up in the next few weeks. Last little bitty project, if you like, is people buy these tracker things, these little GPS tracker units. You put a SIM card in them, and a lot of people buy them for things like drones and stuff, so if they lose their drone and it flies off never to be seen again, they can at least track where it is and recover their drone. So what sparked me to think about this is one of my neighbours, unfortunately, had their house broken into with the specific requirement of stealing their car keys, and they stole 2 of the 3 cars that family owned, and one car was recovered. The other car never to be seen again. The police reckon by the time they'd even well, in a very short space of time, the car, which was I think it was a Focus, was probably on a boat somewhere or in parts already being stripped. So I'm going to make a tracker for the car, so that can be fitted in an inconspicuous position. I've bought a power supply for it as well, so when the car's running it can recharge the battery. The unit itself has a backup battery, so it'd be interesting to see. I'm not sure how long the battery will last on its own sort of volition, if you like, but it's better than nothing, frankly. I'm not sure the car's really you know, I'm not really sure how many of those cars are stolen, but I certainly don't want mine stolen, so it's something I'm thinking about making. I'll do a YouTube video on that if anybody's interested. So there's that. Okay, so this thing, the Nav Pod. I've had this a long time. Struggled a little bit to find a power supply to go into the Samsung 8-inch tablet which I'm fitting in there. Reason being is there's a very short, I don't know if you can see that there, there's a very short throw on the connector. I ordered one previously, the connector was just way too big and wouldn't actually fit in there, so the screen itself wouldn't fit in there, and this itself, I had to trim some of the plastic surround of the socket to be able to get it to fit in there properly. I've now got all the primer paints and everything to paint this fiberglass unit, so this is going to be going in soon, and we'll see how good a fit it is. This was from CL Performance in Russia, retailed through Midship Garage in the US. So we'll see what the fit's like. I'm obviously going to try the fit before I go to the effort of painting it and everything else, because if it's terrible then I'm going to have to adjust it and things. I don't think it's going to be. I've heard good things about these. It's certainly a solidly made unit. The only cause for concern I have is, I'm not sure if you can see, there's a bit of a bow in that there, so I may have to bond. It's got a bit of flex in it, so I may have to bond that down to get it to sit flat, because if it doesn't, that will annoy the hell out of me. But I'm going to use this to run Torque Pro, so I've got digital gauges and things up there, and I'll also use it for navigation. I've got a 2-inch DIN unit in the MR2, and if you've seen any of my older videos, that was actually the first video I ever did, was after I installed that. Someone asked me in the US for a review on it, so they could see what it was like, so that's kind of what I used to kick the channel off with. and the problem with that is the unit is quite low in the dash, so for navigation you're sort of looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up. Not ideal, whereas this higher up, sitting on the top of the dash, obviously this is what this pod was designed for. It was a JDM option in Japan to have a navigation system in there, but obviously with an Android screen that'll do a lot of other functions. It'll have much more functionality. I'm going to hack the system to have it boot up on power on, and it's going to be switched on the dash as well, but it will come on with the, you know, it'll be livened with the ignition. Yeah, and so I'm going to have digital gauges in there. I was going to have digital gauges on the A pillar, and I had a friend and subscriber, Colin in Australia, so hello Colin, if you're watching this video. He messaged me about what did I know that was available in terms of gauges and pods and things for the MR2. So I had a look into that myself, because I did, as I say, fancy some on the A pillar. Interestingly, there's a couple of guys in the UK who have got gauges mounted on the pillar, and they create some problems at junctions and roundabouts and things like that for field of view. So that's kind of changed my position on whether I'm going to go for gauges or not. So if you drive a right-hand vehicle, right-hand drive MR2, and you've got gauges on that right-hand A pillar, let me know about that. Is that something you've experienced in terms of the field of view blocking what you can see? So that's coming. This is sitting here because this project is now actually finished, and I filmed it, and later on this evening I'll possibly or tomorrow be editing that video to put up. So this is the cup holder, ashtray and cigarette or cigar lighter that sits in the bottom section of the dash in the MR2. I don't drink or have drinks in the MR2. My family know it's a no food and drink environment for them. I don't want any of that stuff being spilt around. Yep, call me fussy, but that's just what I want. And I don't smoke, so pretty much this whole section is completely redundant. So if you follow me on Instagram, and my Instagram is @dad_diaries, so yep, certainly have a look in there, because I put some things up on there that's different to the channel. You will have seen that quite a while ago I purchased a switch panel with some switches, and there was a power socket, USB ports and a 12-volt gauge, because one of the things I do like to have, if nothing else, to be able to monitor alternate or some form of alternator health or charge system health, is a voltage gauge, which I haven't got in the car. So what I did was, and you'll see on the video, is I cut this whole section out here, junked that out. I had to sort out some bracketry on the back here, and I'll be perfectly honest, it's not the prettiest on the back, but you don't see it, and it's very functional and strong, so I'm quite happy. I used some epoxy resin and some hot melt glue and screws and things, and yeah, that has now become a fully fledged switch panel with USB charging gauge and power, you know, existing a standard sort of 12-volt power socket. So that is going up in the next few days, possibly even tonight, depends what time I get. So keep an eye out on that one. So if you don't use that, that's a possible option you might have for putting something that you may use there. And all the switches I've got there, one of the switches I'm going to use for the Nav Pod. I'm going to put some lighting in the cubby, because if you're out driving, you need to get something in out of the cubbies behind the seats. There's 0 lights behind there. It's pretty dark, so I'll have a light controlling that and other auxiliary stuff. I might put some DRLs in at some point and things, but it's just there if I need to. I don't need to touch anything else stock with the dash to put other switches in. Yeah, and I just think that'll look quite nice. Well, we'll see how it goes. You can let me know what you think when you see the video. So, body kit. First bit of body kit I bought Well, these are the these are actually original Toyota ones. They look terrible in terms of condition, but and they look a bit like, they do not look like they're going to fit well at all. However, do not be deceived, because these things fit spot on like a glove. These are the Toyota Team Europe TTE rear spats. I'll put a picture up now as to what they'll look like when they're on the vehicle. There we go. So I wasn't sure which way I was going to go, whether it was going to be TTE or TRD. It's going to be a mishmash of both, and I'll tell you for why. With these, if at some point in the future I want to have a twin outlet exhaust, whether that's quad or dual, I'm not too sure, but I have heard people having issues with tailpipes coming into contact with the TRD rear lip. But with these there isn't the issue, because you've got the space between the two spats which just sit either side of the corners. So that's my thinking there, and I quite like the design of those. Now, as I was saying earlier, I've got something coming in the post, should be here this week. That is the TRD side skirts, the TRD front lip, and I've also got, which I've had for quite some time now, is a Nissan E11 JDM front aero lip. I'll put a picture up to what that looks like. The picture I'll put up is a guy, I think it's a guy in Japan who did something similar to his car, and I think it looked pretty good. So it took me quite a while to track one of these lips down. They are pretty rare. I'm not really sure which way I'm going to go, whether I'm going to go for the TRD lip or the Nissan JDM one. Not too sure. But when that comes, I am also deliberating whether I should spray paint that myself or get someone to paint it. I have all the equipment, including all the mixing cups and measuring things and strainers and all that kind of stuff, to be able to paint the stuff myself. I'm just not sure about whether I want to do that. I'll have to have a think about that. I've got two types of spray gun. I've got a standard pickup type, you know, not HVLP one, but a pickup type where the can's on the bottom of the spray gun. I've got one of those, and I've got a smaller sort of touch-up paint gun as well. So that is all going to need painted. I'm pretty excited to get that and get that on there. The kit is not original TRD. I've been looking for one of those for over 2 years now. This is the first set of skirts in the UK that have come up in the UK that I've actually been able to purchase. I've had 2 purchases on the go historically which have fallen through due to sellers letting me down. So these have actually been posted. I've had a confirmation from the courier that they'll be here this week, hopefully tomorrow. So yeah, so I'll be getting all that kit on. In terms of what it looks like, if you watch Mitch Dawes' channel on YouTube, the kit will look fairly similar to his. I've got a late model MR2, so I've got the bumper with the fog lights in there, so the front lip is slightly different if I go with the TRD lip that I've got coming. And I'm undecided whether I'm going to go for the rear boot spoiler wing, whatever you want to call it, which is stage 2, I think, TRD. Let me know your thoughts on that. I don't know which way to go on that one, whether just to leave it clean, nothing at all, or the TRD lip. Now when I paint that, I am going to paint the front bumper, because that's had its fair share of stone chips, and I have got these new fog lights to go in as well, because the ones that are in there, if you've got an MR2, you'll know they get crusty. The reflective coating comes away and turns into a horrible dust on the bottom, and they don't do any good. You know, they don't do anything for the visual look of the car at the front. Now the last thing, I'm going to take you off the thing here, take you off the tripod. It's this thing here. Toyota Team Europe chrome style bar. Some people call it a roll bar. It's not a roll bar or roll cage as such. I have seen it in a roll afford some protection. Some people say they'll just fold over and crush your skull in. Well, if that was the case, I very much doubt they'd be able to retail the part, but hey, each to their own opinion. You'll see here I did also, when I bought this, manage to get the trim rings which come with the bar as well, because when you cut your hole and feed this in, they push down and in and just tidy up the cut. Now with that, I've also managed to get hold of here a copy of the Toyota service instructions to put this onto the car. So you have to, I think it's a 50mm, 70mm, I don't know, whatever hole. And also it comes with a template where you cut this template out, plonk it on top, and gives you a guide for where you're cutting your hole. Now the problem I had when I looked at that, I thought, I'm not really sure that's the same diameter. So on my printer, I just kept sizing it up steps until I get to the right diameter hole there. I think there's one slightly bigger as well. Yeah, slightly bigger there. It's pretty much a case if you line the template up on those, and that gives you exactly where the hole needs to be. And that, as they say, is the last of the project. So plenty to be getting on with. So let me know what you think of all the projects in the comments. I'd be interested to hear. Would you go with the TTE spats, or would you go with the bottom lip? Would you go with the E11 Nissan JDM lip, or would you go with the TRD stage 1 later lip? Let me know. Thanks for watching. A bit of a long one today, but for those who are subscribed for the MR2, I did want to go over some of the stuff that is now getting going with the car. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.